I'm standing in front of a synagogue in Crown Heights that has turned into one of the many, many yeshivot, schools for Jewish education in the community. If you walk through this community of Crown Heights, and the same thing is true with the other religious communities in Brooklyn, whether it's Borough Park or Williamsburg, you'll see that the largest buildings, the largest institutions are the Jewish schools. There are at least a dozen schools, some of them having over 1,000 students in them. And the largest buildings are not the synagogues, but the Jewish schools. And even the old synagogues of the community were turned into schools to provide enough classrooms for the thousands and thousands of children who get a Jewish education in this community. And it brings me back to my childhood memories of being in yeshiva. In this week's Torah portion, we have the story of Korach. Korach led a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu. He was actually a family member, a cousin of Moshe Rabbeinu. And the question is, why would we name the Torah portion after Korach? If Korach was a wicked man, and he was swallowed up by the ground and punished for his rebellion against Moshe, why would we eternalize his name by naming the Torah portion Korach? And especially if you think of the fact that there is no Torah portion called Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, the greatest leaders don't have Torah portions named after them. Why does Korach get a Torah portion named after him? And the Rabbi explains that there is something very, very positive that we have to learn about Korach and from Korach. You see, we all know the 10th commandment, thou shalt not be envious, we shall not covet. But we fail to recognize that everything in the 10th commandment that talks about not being envious and coveting is all about the material possessions of our neighbor. However, when it comes to the spiritual qualities, not only are we not supposed to not covet, but on the contrary, we should be envious, we should be jealous, we should covet their spiritual accomplishments. You see, Korach wasn't envious of Moses and Aaron for material reasons. What Korach said was, Moses, if you are the leader, why is your brother Aaron the high priest? I want to be the high priest. And therefore the lesson of Korach is, yes, when you see someone else's spiritual attainments and connection to God, like Korach looked at Aaron, who was the high priest, you should say, I also want to be a high priest. I want to have a close relationship with God. So what was the failing of Korach? The failing of Korach was that when you see someone else's success in spiritual matters, you should be envious. But you shouldn't want to be them. As someone once said, be yourself because everyone else is taken already. Rather than be envious and wanting to take their position, like Korach wanted to be the high priest, it should inspire you to be the best you can be in what you do. And that's why God created jealousy. The world, in a way, runs on jealousy. That's why social media is so powerful, because everyone's busy looking at everyone else's life. No one posts on social media their failures. No one lists on social media their faults. Everyone just lists their positive traits and successes. And that makes everyone envious, and everyone's looking at everyone else. And as they say, you have FOMO, fear of missing out. Why did God create that powerful urge of jealousy? Because nothing motivates like jealousy. And nothing tells you who you are more than jealousy, what you truly want and aspire to do. And so when you feel that urge of jealousy, by all means, harness it, nurture it, and say, yes, I also want to achieve great things. That's what it looks like when you work hard and you are determined and you persevere, you achieve great things. I can do the same thing and be the best version of myself. Not to be like someone else, but to be the best that you can be. And that's why God created jealousy. And that's why we have to remember Korach. Because Korach teaches us when it comes to spiritual matters, yes, be as jealous as you can be. And realize that you can achieve great things as well. No two people are alike. No two characters are alike. God made you who you are. But let the jealousy motivate you to be the best and inspire you to achieve your fullest potential. When I was in yeshiva, one of my great memories was when I was in 11th grade. I had a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Yehuda Kalman Marlowe. He was a giant of a man. He knew Torah inside and outside, word for word. So much so that when we would be good in class, he would say, boys, you were good. You are going to get a reward. And what was the reward? you can test me. He was a very humble man, but he would allow us to open up any Chumash, which is the 5 books of the Torah, as well as Unclus. Unclus is the Aramaic translation of the entire Torah. Most people don't even read it, but he knew the entire Unclus translation of the Torah verbatim, as well as the entire code of Jewish law written by Rabbi Scheiner Zalman of Liadi, known as the Alter Rebbe. And we would each grab different books. Now we're talking about a combination of literally, without exaggeration, thousands and thousands of pages. And every kid was allowed to pick a section anywhere in the entire Chumash, Unclus, or 4 volumes of Jewish law, and begin reading a line. And he would continue verbatim, word for word. He had memorized all of it, verbatim, word for word. And I remember the excitement of being able to test him and trying to stump him, but never being able to. And when I look back now and I think, why did he do that? He obviously didn't do it to show off. He did it for one reason, to inspire us. And I remember the feeling of like envy. Wow, if I could only do that, if I could only be as learned and as knowledgeable as he was. And we knew we would never be as great as he was. We knew that was maybe beyond our personal capacity, but it made us want to try to be better and achieve as much as we could achieve. That's the gift of jealousy. Use it wisely, because it could take you to very great places. Have a wonderful day.